So it was really cool growing up, and meeting all, of course, everybody knows who Jimmy Jack Funk is. That's Jesse Barr. There was a younger brother, Sean, who just was a referee. Sandy Barr was the father / booker / ran a flea market here in Portland. And then there was a daughter named Joanne, and I haven't heard from Joanne in probably about 15 years now. But it's really cool that I can have memories like that.
I think that's awesome, man. I'll be honest with you, because like I said, later on in my young life, I remember 11 being at SmackDown Madison Square Garden. The first time I saw Roddy Piper live was, do you remember in 2003 when he came back? So he did the thing with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 19 and the Vince McMahon match, and then he was with Sean O'Hare for like a short period of time. I remember watching him at Madison Square Garden on SmackDown. Him and Sean O'Hare challenged Eddie Guerrero and Tajiri for the WWE Tag Team titles.
That was right when Piper got fired.
Yep, right after the HBO thing, right?
Yes, and believe it or not, you mentioned that match at WrestleMania 19. I actually was at WrestleMania 19.
Yes, sir. And so you got to see Brock Lesnar do that shooting star press up close and personal.
I wouldn't say up close. I was sitting.
Distance.
I was actually above the press box at Safeco Field, and even with binoculars, you couldn't see the ring. It was just that far away.
But still, you got to witness history.
I got to
witness shooting star press.
I was there. I got to witness it. The people I was with, they didn't think Lesnar could do something like that. I'm like, oh, he was doing that in OVW, and he would nail it. He even did it in a few dark matches. But he wanted to do something big for the big stage, and he botched it. And a big shout out to Matthew of Botchamania. If you've never seen Botchamania, check it out on YouTube. It is hysterically funny. This guy adds old school 8-bit music from old Nintendo games to the soundtrack there, and it just makes it even better.
I think that's what's so funny about those videos. And here's the thing, man. Like, you got to experience WrestleMania 19. I got to experience WrestleMania 20. So those are two top WrestleManias. WrestleMania 19, I look at it like this, man. You had Rock and Austin for the last time. You had Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho. And you had, now a lot of people still argue to this day that Booker T should have beaten Triple H for that world title at WrestleMania. Personally, I was one of them because just that build going into it, I think Booker T was red hot. What were your thoughts about that whole argument that still exists to this day, Mike, that Booker T should have beaten Triple H for that world title at WrestleMania 19?
He should have. He was, like you said, he was on a hot streak. I mean, he eliminated The Rock in a battle royal.
Yeah.
To become that number one contender at WrestleMania. But, they were doing a little racial angle there, which I thought was really distasteful at the time, even then. Because that was the tail of the Attitude Era, going into the Ruthless Aggression eras. But, Booker T, he deserved to be the World Heavyweight Champion then, and he later got it a few years later, 2 or 3 years later, when he beat Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, when he was King Booker.
King Booker! Oh, and I just got a text message from Delight that said, yes. I asked her like 30 minutes ago if she's going to listen in, and she now just responds, thanks. A little slow on the uptake there, eh, Delight?
Hey, she's here to the party now, so that's awesome. Welcome, Delight.
Let that trash talk begin.
Well, speaking of trash talk, sir, we got to jump into this, man, just because now you're on my show here, sir, and we've talked a lot about LFC, we've talked about wrestling. You got a little something that you want to say about a certain LFC fighter. So there's
actually two of them. I just remembered. The first one is the one that I had on my show, and she came up with this idea, and she's on tour right now. So, Bella, if you're listening, anytime, any place, anywhere, bring it. And, and I mean that in the most affectionate way, of course, because I absolutely adore Bella. She was an awesome guest on my show. She was an awesome guest on your show, too.
Thank you.
Yeah. But just, she wants to put a hurting on me because we've missed each other twice in Las Vegas.
I think one of them wasn't your fault, right? It was your buddy's fault.
Both of them weren't either of ours. It was neither one. She had a family situation the first time I went.
Of course.
And the second time was because of my buddy, and she tried to place the blame on me for that. So, I don't go down easy. I don't tap out. So, I will pass out before I tap out, and I drink a lot of caffeine, so just be warned.
All right, so you got Bella Inc. in the most affectionate way possible, challenging Bella. Now, Mr. Mike Jolly, who is that second individual that you would like to challenge? Because I'm intrigued by this. I've been wanting to hear this now.
So, my whole life, I was bullied as a kid, okay? Mm-hmm. Because I was pretty much undersized, and I've come to hate bullies with a passion. Now, in watching LFC the past few shows, I've noticed one particular person being a bully to some of these fighters, and you know what? I'm going to call her ass out right here, right now.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
So, if Jolene the Valkyrie Hex wants to try to bully somebody, try bullying me. We'll do this in December. We'll call it Season's Beatings. I won't even throw a punch.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, all right, I'm gonna throw a shot in the dark here. So, you were not happy with what happened at LFC 27 with her and Monica Flowerbomb Garcia. Now looks to be we're gonna get her and the former interim prez, Holly the Lotus May. So, you want a piece of Jolene just as badly as Monica and Holly the Lotus May does.
Even more so, because, like I said, I hate bullies.
Me too.
I was bullied as a kid. I've been bullied as, all the way up through the, until I enlisted in the Navy. And I really, really have a soft spot for underdogs. She bullied Bella Inc. She bullied, that poor girl at LFC 28.
Oh, Gypsy. Yes.
Yes, and I'll be their champion. So
you want to be the European champ, Mike?
No, I'm not going for any belt. Okay.
Okay.
Let's just get rid of that notion right then and there. I'll do it non-title, but
okay.
Jolene, you're a bully. I hate bullies. So balls in your court, madam. Let's do this in December.
All right, so the challenge has been thrown out there from Mike Jolly of the Washington Wrestle Talk Podcast to Jolene the Valkyrie Hex.
Yeah.
Mike, very nice.
And you know what? People call me crazy, people call me goofy, but you know what? There's never a dull moment. That's why they call me the oddity.
Well, I also got to give both you and who I've also had on the show, Josh Della Grange, is another one, because he was also like yourself, and a lot of the LFC faithful were not happy because he is back, and Tomiko gave him that restraining order. Leon Hader, he's not been a fan of Leon Hader. Leon Hader is back as a coach now, but, he had that restraining order from one Tomiko, as we saw at LFC 28 in a bout against Civil Star. So, I mean, dude.
Yeah,
still going on.
And I understand, Leon was in the heat of the moment. But yes. I understand where Tomiko's coming from. I love Tomiko to death. I mean, she was my very first guest on my show, and, she hung out with me at Gen Con for a bit, which was really cool. But, they just got to work their issues out, and, eventually, things will see through, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
I hear you, man. And there's a lot going on with LFC. And besides the fact, Mr. Jolly, I got to say there's a lot going on with you because I listened to your show and I did have a question. What's with this girl fight league that's just like been talking trash and wanting to go after poor Delight, Chloe, and Mistress Cat, the trio there? What's been going on there, man? Because I've seen them in my Twitter suggestions and I'm like, I just heard you talk about them on your show, so that's how I'm aware of this. What's the deal with this whole thing, Mike?
So these guys they've been known to do fake accounts on Twitter.
Okay.
But their claim to fame is they're called the Underground Girl Catfight Club, and they do nude fist fights with girls. Mm-hmm. And, it was pretty cool, hanging with them for a minute. And then the stunt that they pulled last Saturday when they tried to have, some of their fighters jump the the power trio. And when I found that out, I was livid. I mean, and I've gone on record to say that, the power trio, Mark, they're my family. They're they're the family that I never had, and I include you in that group too.
Oh, thank you, man.
But there's one thing you don't do, and you don't fuck with my family. And I immediately went on Twitter, when I found this out, I rescinded my offer, to have them and any of their girls on my show. And then they proceeded to block me a few days later. So, it is what it is. I'm not sad. Sorry, not sorry for blocking you guys, but you fucked up. You shouldn't have done what you did. And if you do it again, God help you all.
All right. And, man, now this leads us to Mr. Jolly. All right. I've been seeing it on Twitter. I'm familiar with this athlete. Mark Gagliardi and one Cheyenne Jewel have been going at it, and I know you've been requesting to have Cheyenne come on and tell her side. Let everybody know what's been going on with Mark and Cheyenne, for those who are unfamiliar.
So, if you're unfamiliar with it, there is, for lack of a better term, I almost want to say a blood feud with these two.
It kind of is, man.
And what the hell did Delight just send to me? Oh, hi guys, I'm listening. Anyways, but yeah, it stems back, I guess about 7 years. Now, for me, I like Cheyenne Jewel. I always have. I'm a big fan of her work. Whether it's, doing mixed wrestling, female wrestling. She's done stuff with Ultimate Surrender. She's done Evolve fights with Ariel X, who I would love to have on my show as well. We've had talks about that. But did you know Cheyenne is also a legitimately trained MMA fighter?
Now, I've seen all her stuff, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know per se, but I had a feeling because I've seen, she has that look, she has that build, and I've seen her overall strength and talent, so I kind of had an inkling, but yeah, now I know since you told me.
But yeah, I mean, she is an awesome, awesome talent, and, I would love to see her, do an LFC, but she told me that she really wasn't interested in it at the time that I asked, so you never know. Things may change between now and then, but like I said, I have nothing but love and respect for Cheyenne Jewel. I could just go on for days and weeks and months and years about all the things I've seen that she's been in, and it's nothing but phenomenally good. I mean, she is a certified ass kicker, and like I said, nothing but love and respect to her.
Agreed. And I'll be honest with you, I see what Mark's done with his Brutal Beauties. I love to see something happen between Mark and LFC. I'd like to see even something with Cheyenne. There's a lot of possibilities, man. I think opportunity knocks and, opportunity will strike. I hope something does happen because I think it needs to be settled. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those guys that likes to do things behind a keyboard. If you got something to say, face to face, that's the old opportunity. Call me old school, but, that's the thing nowadays, man. It's the keyboard deal. social media age, Mike. So, I mean, I hope everything gets resolved. And I've just got to say, man, that it needs to come to a head.
It definitely needs to come to a head. This is as real as it gets, by the way. I mean, these are two very respected professionals, and if the industry, the fetish industry knows what's best for business, they would want this to happen. I want this to happen. I want to see this finalized. Two people that I have